Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Habs Tonight with myself and Damon. Big news today. Big news. Sad news. The Shea Weber era is officially over. His contract has been traded to the Vegas Golden Knights in exchange for forward Evgeni Dadonov. We knew it was his time, right? He didn't play last season. It was basically confirmed that he was retired, but now it's officially over. The captain is gone. And, first things first, Damon, I think we have to acknowledge, everything he's done for the team these past 6 years. He's been here for 6-7 years. It's been a while, but I think he's one of the best captains in recent memory, right up there with Saka Koivu, in my opinion. What he did for this team, for the city, for everyone around him is next to none. So big shout out to the Man Mountain.
Yeah, we can't thank him enough for everything he's done. He's done so much for the city, giving us a lot of tons of memories. Of course, upsetting Pittsburgh in the bubble, being leader by example and by voice as well. I just can't stress enough how good of a leader he's been, and he's definitely going to be missed. And everyone, hopefully, he comes back one day in a management role. And definitely, I just want to put this up here. Our favorite memory of him right here.
Yeah,
going to the conference final. Just a beautiful memory right here, and something I'll never forget.
Mm-hmm.
We were all jumping up, screaming, shouting, going crazy, and we all have Webby to thank for it. And Shea, thank you so much.
And that's it. The 1 year anniversary of that day is coming up here next week, so that's pretty fun. But I mean, let's look at Weber's career here, because my goodness, like, that is 1,038 games played, 224 goals, 365 assists for a grand total of 589 points. He's won the hardest shot a few times. He's basically killed a few guys on the ice as well. This guy just did everything. But I think the big thing that stays with us and the people that's played with him as well is his leadership and just his attitude. That's been passed on to the younger guys, right? He's had a chance to play with Cole, with Nick, with Romy. All our future guys are going to benefit from that time they had with Webby, and that's invaluable. He just brought so much to the locker room, and we weren't even in it yet. We know just how valuable he was. So it's a big loss in a sense, but at least we've had time to mourn, right? He didn't play at all last year, and we know it's done. He's not going to play a single game with Vegas. But now it begs the question, right? I had to pull up the jersey, but the C's done. Who's going to be the next captain, Damon?
Okay, this is going to be a fun one. Here's my dream scenario on draft day when the first overall pick, Chantal Machabée, knowing her experience with PR, what she's going to do is she's going to unveil the next captain in Habs history and have them make the first overall selection, and that is going to be Nick Suzuki.
Yeah,
I've met the guy. I had the pleasure of meeting the guy when he was only 19 or 20, and he was like a 30-year-old NHL veteran. He's just such a nice guy. I met him, and he's honestly someone who leads by example. And this guy, he's definitely someone that everyone in the locker room would just listen to, and he's taken after Shea Weber for sure. And even if it isn't the letter that goes on to Nick Suzuki, I'd still be fine with Brendan Gallagher or Joel Edmondson as well. But
yeah,
I think anyone could pretty much lead in this locker room, knowing how good the guys are and all taking after Shea Weber.
That's it. Whoever we go with, honestly, we're good. We've got people saying Brendan Gallagher. We've got people saying Suzuki. You just said Edmondson, which I think is a fantastic choice as well. We've got a great leadership group in this team. And again, that all stems from Weber, right? I'm not saying that if he weren't there, these guys wouldn't be as good leaders as they are, but he's certainly helped. He's passed down some great knowledge, some great advice. But moving forward, I think it's got to be Nick Suzuki. It's got to be. He is the future of this team, and he's already stepped up in a big way these past few years. He is a proven leader, and how many players have said that he should be the captain, right? This is his team. So I'm expecting to see a C on his jersey next season. And if they announce it at the draft day, man, I will lose my mind. I had thought about it a few months ago, and it would be crazy, but I thought that'd be ludicrous. Now thinking about it, it's coming up. It could happen. It could happen in the Bell Center, first overall pick. Announce your new captain. I mean, that has Chantal Machabée all written all over it. That's how you create buzz. That'd be phenomenal. I would love that. Now, there was a trade, right? It's not just Weber, kicking the can over to Vegas. We did get something in return, right? Evgeni Dadonov is now a Montreal Canadian. What are your thoughts on the new acquisition there?
I definitely think it's going to be a good acquisition for us. He has 1 year left on his deal at 5 million. I'm just going to confirm here, and yes, it is 5 million. He signed that deal with Ottawa back in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
and I expect him to be trade deadline at chip, depending on how he plays. And also, Dadonov, in my opinion, could have a really really good shot of helping out a lot of our younger players because he does get a lot of his production on the power play,
Yeah.
and he could easily help out someone such as Cole or another youngsters, maybe let's say Yessi Alonen in this case, because I could see Yessi Alonen playing on the power play next year if he gets called up. He could help out a lot of our youngsters because he's a good
Mm-hmm.
veteran of the game, 33 years old. And one thing I want to mention is he had a career year in 2018-19 with 70 points in 82 games. That's just under 30 goals, and he's over 40 assists that year. And with that kind of player teaching the kids that kind of a skill, I think he and himself could be his own skills coach for the kids, which is something we've lacked for a while. And yeah, it's definitely going to be a very good trade for both of us. And
Mm-hmm.
I think both teams should be very happy with what they got here. And
That's
I
it.
need to pull this up right here.
Hold on. Let me remove the
Gus,
banner.
remove the banner.
Yeah. You got to see this. Ducks and Min for the win. That is so good. So good.
Yeah. Just imagine we're somehow on his trade list because of the taxation, which is part of the reason why he didn't want to go to the Ducks because they're one of the higher taxing cities in the NHL. Just imagine this
Mm-hmm.
trades get called off. Just have to say that would drive me nuts. But
Yeah, it's a weird thing how he's ended up in one of the most taxed cities in the NHL in Montreal. But in contrast, we got to be happy for Weber because right now he's in Vegas and they are one of the least taxed teams in the league. So he's making more money here. We love to see that. Now there's been a discussion here about why was this trade ever done, right? A lot of people are a bit confused with the cap situation, right? We have to remind everyone that Vegas was in cap hell before today, and now they just offloaded $5 million, right? So it's good for them, right? Weber won't play a single game; he'll just be on their long-term injury reserve and still getting paid. And now for the Habs, right? They move Weber's contract, which was on LTIR, to make room for possible more LTIR and taking on Dadonov's 5 million. But Damon, I know you know more than I do about the subject, so I'll let you handle that.
yeah, the thing is, especially with the cap, I'm just going to go over Montreal's situation right here. So with Montreal, of course, with our cap, we have of course 1.923 3 million in current cap space to date. But
Mm,
with Dadonov's contract, we of course took on extra 5 million, and Clint Hughes has said he wants more cap flexibility. So the Jonathan Drouin is still on the IR right now because he's still recovering from that hand surgery he got, and
mhm.
right now with the cap that puts a good amount of money in the IR. But the IR, I'm going to admit, sometimes it can confuse me with how much can go into it, and a lot of it
Yeah.
is pretty complicated math. And if we can somehow get Jonah Hill from Moneyball to answer all the
Jonah Hill.
questions for us, I think we'd be very happy here. But the key here is that we need to clear up a good amount of cap spaces. I'm sure we know Mike Hoffman's name is in the trade rumors for clearing cap space. Jeff Petrie, of course.
Mhm.
Kent Hughes has some comments about that, but we'll move on to that a bit later. And then there's also Christian Dvorak, who's also likely to go this summer as well.
Yeah. That's it. And that's a great segue here because Kent made some pretty interesting comments, right? He was asked about Petrie and all that, and he said, "Well, right now there's no intention of moving him, but if we get something," I mean, he's said that multiple times already, so we should know the answer by now. But it's pretty clear that he's working on a deal for Petrie and uh, maybe even Josh Anderson. I don't want to see that happen. I love Josh. But like you said, there's Hoffman as well to consider. Now we just got a new winger. So where does that put Hoffman, right? He doesn't really fit into the lineup too much. Might need to find a trade for him. And Christian Dvorak, we're likely getting Shane Wright here on July 7th. So that's given us 5 centers. one too many. I think if there's one guy that could go at center, it would be Dvorak. So more trades coming. What do you think, Damon?
I definitely expect this to be just the tip of the iceberg in trades this summer. Expect there to be definitely Petrus being traded. Hoffman, I don't know where he would go because I think teams have finally realized that the 4.5 million that Bergevin gave him was, to put it nicely, an overpay.
Hmm.
And then there's Dvorak, who under St. Louis has definitely improved his game a lot. And I think that under the concept way of playing it under Marty St. Louis, that he has definitely improved his game a lot more. And I definitely think that he's going to become expendable in this situation. So of course he's definitely someone who I think could get traded for at least a first round pick is my hope. And I don't want to just cut losses here, but I just think that that I wouldn't be surprised if we hold him on for a bit longer to get more value for him. And even Armia's performance at the World Championships, making 3.4 million, he was easily one of Finland's best forwards, and he drove that power play along with Mikael Granlund. And I definitely could see a team being willing to take that risk with Armia. I don't want to say like he's a bad player or anything, but Armia definitely has had a really unfortunate season last year and not played up to the standards that we know he's very much capable of. But if he can next season or somehow develop that consistency that he needs in his game, he will be a very good trade chip in my opinion this summer. And then Petrie, of course, and there's definitely a lot of other players who could be traded, but I think that those are the main priorities right now.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you mentioned Armia there because he absolutely killed the World Championships there, but that actually boosts his trade value a lot. And a lot of people would like a power forward like Armia. So I think calls are probably coming in, and Kent is gauging the offers. But expect more trades, that's for sure. Kent has made that very clear today. Again, there's going to be change. There's going to be a lot of change, and we're heading towards youth. And I like this comment here because it's again great segue to my next point. Hot take incoming. We throw everything we have at Jersey for number 2. We draft Wright and Slavkovsky and embrace the tank. Damon, there's been rumors that the Habs would potentially acquire the number 2 pick on top of having the number 1 already. So New Jersey is in a precarious situation here where, okay, they suck, but they also want to be good like next year. It's a weird mix. So they need talent right now. Slavkovsky or Cooley, whoever they decide to go to at number 2, won't make a big difference next year or probably the year after. So it makes sense for them to trade the pick. Now, if the Habs would want that pick, what do you think we'd have to give up for it?
I definitely expect Josh Anderson to be the piece who goes here. As I'm sure we know, the Devils don't really have a power forward that can that can create a lot like Josh Anderson and plays with the physical style that he has. And the Devils have definitely a surplus of centers. They have Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier. They also have Pavel Zacha, as I'm sure we know, and then Michael McLeod. They have a full surplus of them. You can literally cap friendly find everyone, and somehow all of them are somehow have the ability to play center. And even I'm going to mention this former Hab legend Brian Flynn is in their system. I didn't think I'd be saying
Brian
his
Flynn.
name this show, but
Wow.
yeah, he's in their system right now. So they have a big surplus of centers. And I think, I don't know if it would be a 1-for-1 with Anderson, but there's also rumors they might be trying to offload Blackwood and they might not want to re-sign him. There's also rumors about Allen, and we could get good value for him. I don't know what's going to happen here with the number 2 pick. I know the Devils are shopping it, and I would like to take it, but I don't want it to be a good young player who's going to be the sacrificial lamb to be traded in order to get it.
No, that's it.
So that's sort of my approach to number 2. But you told me before the show, Shane, you have a theory. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about it as well because it's cool to think about, right? Imagine having the first and the second overall pick at home. The crowd would go nuts, right? So I'd love to see it, but it's a risky move. We have to remember that the number 2 pick is not a guaranteed savior, right? Sure, we're getting, probably Shane Wright. And if we pick number 2, a lot of people are saying we'll go with Slavkovsky, which makes sense, the best winger available. But what we give in return could make the whole difference. If we give Josh Anderson, who is a power forward, just to draft another power forward that won't develop for another few years, then what's the point, right? Josh Anderson is still young. He has chemistry already with the team. We know what he can do. We know his floor. We don't yet know his ceiling. Slavkovsky, on the other hand, probably has a higher ceiling than Anderson, but definitely has a lower floor than Anderson, right? So it's risky. It's very risky. Now, if we're in the shoes of New Jersey here, they need talent now. Like I said, it's in the next 2-3 years they want to win. They have Jack Hughes, they have Ishir, they're going for it. What are they lacking, right? Goaltending, possibly defense, right? They don't really have that one veteran defenseman, which we happen to have. His name is Jeff Petrie. Okay, so could there be something with Petrie? Could there be something with Allen? Lots to think of. Glad I'm not Kent Hughes right now, because that is a big decision, but remains to be seen. Guys, we're gonna have a fun summer. Okay, I already know trades are coming in before the playoffs are even over. It's gonna be pretty cool. But now, moving on, we just had this beauty of a playoff run by the Laval Rocket here. I had the opportunity to go to Game 5 where we lost in overtime. Thank you, James Neal, asshole. But you know what? It was an amazing experience, and the team is really fun to watch. And there's one guy I need to talk about, and that is Caden Primo, because my goodness, wow, I have no words for him right now. What he accomplished in the playoffs, and he's young still. He's very young, and what he accomplished, being probably the best goaltender in these playoffs in the AHL, is very encouraging for our future. With Price likely, nearing the end of the career here, it's good to know that we have a guy that we can trust coming up in our system.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's been so amazing just to. I haven't been able to watch many of the games. I'm gonna admit I'm guilty of that. I've been able to watch some of the highlights. Caden Primo, he just looks just so calm, cool, and collected. Anytime any big puck comes at him, or any insane shot or anything, he just looks like a brick wall out there. Just like Thibaut Courtois in the UEFA Champions League final. I'm just gonna use that soccer comparison for the fun of it. I don't know if you saw that game, Shane, but pretty much he was keeping the puck out of the net constantly. He was so good. Like, words can't even describe it. You just have to look at the video, look at the pictures, and just see how good he is. And also his initials are CP, which is of course same initials as the best goalie in Habs history and the best goalie who I believe of all time.
It's meant to be. It's meant to be. It's in the stars, David.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, I was thoroughly impressed with the Laval Rocket in general. Granted, Caden Primo took on a big load here, but shout out to Raphaël Harvey-Pinard, who really broke out there. He had a little slump, and then once he got going, he had 5 goals in 5 games. I was there to witness 2 of them, and he plays with so much spunk. I mean, the guy is ruthless, relentless, and he's just a damn good hockey player, right? There's no wonder why his nickname is Lavaliger, because he basically plays like Gallagher with his own little twists and spices. So he's a guy that I think could potentially have a chance at cracking the Habs lineup one day. Another guy too is Jesse Alonen, who struggled maybe a bit in these playoffs, but I think he still has a great amount of talent. But big shout out to the Laval Rocket. Great stuff. Absolutely loved watching this. Too bad it came to an end in Game 7 there, but really, really entertaining stuff and encouraging for years to come here. Again, if we're keeping on the topic of prospects, we've got a few prospects who are going to the Memorial Cup here. We have Ken Gooley, whose team won the WHL championship, the Edmonton Oil Kings. He's been on a tear. I mean, voted the best player in the playoffs for the WHL, which is a huge award. And then just yesterday, the Hamilton Bulldogs won the OHL, going to the Mem Cup. We have Jan Mishak and Arbor Jackeye in that team. So pretty encouraging stuff from our prospects, eh?
Yeah, very encouraging. It's definitely going to be a very good sign, because Caden Gooley, as I'm sure we know, I think will have a future with the team, and sooner than we think. I could be as soon as next year, even if he just gets a 9-game trial and goes down to Laval. And then Jan Mishak, I see being a good third liner for us. And Arbor Shakai, I can see him literally being anywhere with us. He's so versatile. Yeah. And funny story I read with Shakai actually is a few years ago, he was working at Costco, not expecting to make it to the show,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
now he's going to be in the show very soon. And this Memorial Cup is going to be a very fun one to watch. And I want to know, who do you think's going to win it all, Shane?
Man, you look at the Edmonton Oil Kings, they have 4 first-round draft picks in their team, and that's not including other guys who were drafted in second, third round. Like, their team is loaded. And with Sebastian Cossa in net, who's just been ridiculously good, I think it's gotta be them. Like, if I'm a betting man, I'm going with Edmonton on this one.
Same here. I'm just
Yeah.
going with the Oil Kings. They've been so good. And one thing I'm a little foreshadowing that got me a little scared, the last defenseman to win WHL Playoff of the Year award was Griffin Reinhart. That's the only thing I'm going to say that got me scared of it. But with Caden Gooley, I know we'll be fine.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that's a great way to wrap this all up. We have people thinking Gooley could make the lineup next year, and I'm one of those people. Honestly, Gooley is just that good. And what has the comparison been, right? Shea Weber. He is essentially a better skating Shea Weber with a slightly less powerful shot, maybe. Like, if that's not encouraging, I don't know what is. And on a day like today, obviously we lose our dear captain, and one of the best players in Canadians' recent history, in my opinion, Shea Weber, uh, likely going to retirement, but still collecting the checks like the beauty that he is. I think we have to really acknowledge him, and this video is obviously dedicated to him and everything he's done for this team and for the league in general. Like, what a player, what a role model he's been for everyone, for every defenseman out there wanting to become a Shea Weber one day. So big shout out to Webby, big shout out to Kent Hughes for again being just a wizard and making a nice trade and getting Webby in a good spot where he doesn't have to pay taxes. And thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Damon. I mean, we've been a bit slow this summer. There hasn't been much content to be talking about, but when there is, we're going to be there, and that's going to be no different for the rest of the summer. I mean, you got the draft coming up. There's going to be more trades. Kent said that. We got free agency start of the next season. There's going to be a ton of stuff, and it's all going down right here. All right. So thank you, everyone. See you soon. Take care.
Thank you. Cheers.